Do you suck at communicating in Overwatch? Do you want to better tell your teammates exactly what's going on in the match? Well, look no further. Today, I'll take you through a few comms that you need to know and how to apply them to your game. Enjoy. Okay, so for the comm guide, we want low effort, effective, clear, and repeatable comms that you can use and just apply to all of your games. I want to try get some comms that, of course, are for every role. Everyone should be able to do this, every hero, every role. Obviously, some might apply more to others, or some might come up more for others. Again, just the way the game works. And I will try explain a little bit of why this one might be useful. Now, these are not high-level scrim comms, obviously. This is just to help out the bums in your ranked game. And of course, we still want you to be focusing on your game. It's the only thing you can change is your game. Okay, why do I think comms are actually quite important, even though they're not necessarily needed in order to, rank up and improve as a player? Focusing on yourself is always going to be better. But if you want to climb the ranks and you want to eventually maybe scrim, be on a team, be in these like GM champ lobbies where there's going to be a lot more comms, I think you do need to get at least a little bit of foundational practice in, Masters or Diamond or something. And look, if you're gold and below, you can go for it as well if you really want. If it adds a lot more enjoyment to the game, it generally can make the game so much more fun if it feels like you're taking it seriously and it feels like you're more engaged with it. It can be a lot more fun. Okay, let's move on to the first thing that probably the most important thing to come and the main thing to take away from this. Important cooldowns. This is one of the simplest and most effective comms in the game. You could only do this and people would probably be happy. So let's define important cooldowns. That could be realistically any support cooldown and a couple tank ones, but pretty much anything like nade, sleep, lamp, Suzu, TP, even comment that Alari pylon is down or anything like that. Most of the support cooldowns are really, really important. And then really high key ones, stuff like Tracer Recall, or possibly even like a Widow Grapple or Reaper without Wraith. These really key ones that are vulnerable for them. You'll pick up very quickly and better think about which ones really matter. On top of this, you might want to say if a hero has nothing, they have no abilities. So, for example, if I'm finding Kiriko and she uses Suzu, I'm just going to say, no Suzu. It's clear, it's quick, and it's effective. Just by going no Suzu means everyone will now know that, hey, Kiriko doesn't have Suzu. This might enable a Jungle Queen to push in. This might enable your tank to just push in. It might, make someone all in on a Kiriko more. Yeah, it always has these little subtle effects. And it's really easy to say, so it doesn't take away too much from you or annoy anyone, right? Or if I'm fighting in Genji and I see him dash onto me, he dashes in, and then my response forces deflect out of him, I will then come, Genji has nothing. We'll just say Genji has nothing. And that's it. You could be fighting Genji and you say it's nothing, someone might look and try help. Someone might not, it doesn't really matter. You can do this as much as you like because it really is such a small comm, it can really only ever help by just pointing out cooldowns. Even if you do a cooldown that no one cares about, it's so minuscule. It's really nothing, right? It's not going to matter that much in the long run. Obviously, don't, be like Tracer has one blink, Tracer two, stuff like that. There are really vital ones, Zarya bubbles. You might want to be like, choose one bubble left, she has no bubbles, things like that. Those are more important. And you can pick up very quickly which ones matter a lot. Think about ones that you can capitalize on more. Those are the ones you want to say. The second thing you can is ultimate tracking, which is a skill in of itself, right? Anyone can do this, but typically a Brig, Lucio, Wu Young Mercy player, the main supports will do this. Just in the back of your mind, have an idea of ults in the ultimate economy, like who has what. But again, if you truly don't know, because sometimes it's not easy to track, if you haven't seen an ult for about 2 fights, it is very likely they will be getting it, already have it for the next fight. Think about in your games how many times you've had 2 big team fights and then you were very close to ult by the end of it. Obviously, if you get snowballed and you just get rolled on 2 fights, they're not going to have ult. Like, you're not going to have ults, right? So you have to use your brain a little bit here and go, okay, well, we had 2 team fights, but they did nothing. We just insta-killed them. They probably don't have any ult charge. But say you had 2 close team fights and you were to do it, then it is very likely that they will be able to build it next fight, or a character with low ult charge cost will have an ult. And if you know they're going to have an ult, or you're cautious of one, like you don't even 100% know it, just say something like, they're going to have Kitsune this fight. Or, I think they're going to have Kitsune this fight. You can even chuck I think in there so you're not accountable. But that's it. I'm using Kiriko because it's a really important one. I'll be fighting and 2 fights will happen. And I'll be like, oh, they might Kitsune this fight. And you don't even have to tell your team what to do with that information. Your team can do what they want. They can either try kill a Kiriko early to force it. They can either just fall back or be ready to kite it. They can save ults to respond to the Kitsune. They might want to save Beat. They might want to save Rally, Juno, Orbital Ray, you know, Coalescence, like stuff like that. They might want to start saving for that by chucking that comm in there. But, you know, it's just useful to do stuff like that. On the other end, you might want to ask, did they use Window, for example? I'm focusing on support ults because support ults are just really important and they're easier just to name. If you were quite absent in a fight, so you were maybe really far off doing your own thing, you didn't really pay attention, or you died early and then you don't know what happened to the rest of the fight, asking for information is fine. You can ask for information. You can be like, did they use Window? The worst that's going to happen is they're going to not say anything. And then you're in the same place you were before, right? So you might want to ask, did they use Window? And if they didn't, that'll also put it in people's minds, they might have it this fight then. You see what I mean? My tip for this, for most players, is don't worry too much about tracking all 5 ults. There's 2 things here. If you know for sure of an ult, you can comment. Or if you don't want to do all 5, just track one really important ult. Just do one. It's going to be a support ult. It's going to be, you know, Beat, it's going to be Kitsune, it could be Wuyong ult even, it could be Orbital Ray. You know, just try track one if that's what you want to do. But it's not something you should focus on like too much for most players, just because you like, if you're like a tracer, you have enough on your plate. You do not need to be worried about the enemy's odds, right? Okay. But to my fellow main support enjoyers, you know, you're playing your Breaky Lucio, you maybe want to be tracking harder. It's kind of your role, and when you get the higher rank play, you're going to notice that the main support is the guy that kind of needs to be ultimate tracking quite a lot. But yeah, there are simple rules to it. You can just think about what's the likelihood of it's been this many fights that probably have an ult. So yeah, and just let people know that. Okay, third one, informing people of your play or what you're doing. Those first 2 are like very super basic and can be just widely used, and even the first one could be the only thing you ever do. But this is a bit more. This is a bit more of an extension, right? So you can let your team know what you are currently doing or going to do. So this will be easier with an example. So let me actually set this up. Okay, I'm just gonna go into a random VOD, and what I plan on doing is basically pretending I'm me and saying what I might comment in this moment, right? Okay, I for some reason stuck to find an example here because it's really difficult to think about this. But basically what I might be saying is in form of what I am doing. For example, it might be this. You might walk up here and you might think, as soon as I go towards this Mei, I might come, Mei, I'm with you, Mei, I'm with you, Mei. Which gives the Mei a little more confidence to stay up because I can heal them, right? I mean, obviously they then just pop Blizzard and stuff. But that would be the idea there. And then if you're going to say what you're doing, you might say something like, oh, I'm on Kiri. No one else is up, so you might be like, I'm on Kiri. Right, yeah, Kiri dead. Yeah, that's an example. Or similar to the old thing I said earlier, I might say as Lucio, hey, I'm going to beat their Kitsune next fight. So that means you can just say, hey, when they Kitsune, I'm going to beat. And then they know that you're going to beat with the Kitsune, which makes the Kitsune a little less threatening and gives your team an understanding of how the fight's going to happen. Or you might even say, oh, I'm going to beat engage this fight, and then go 3, 2, 1, and then you're going to beat, right? Stuff like that. Now, this can be harder to do while focusing on your gameplay. So if if you struggle with this, don't worry too much. You can keep it really, really simple, like stuff like, oh, I'm with you, mate, and then just go back to playing your gameplay. But doing it mid-fight, mid-action can be very difficult, so don't worry too much. But that is definitely something you can do a lot on a lot of characters, especially characters with some downtime. So Winston might take a lot of downtime and be like, oh, hey guys, I'm gonna dive the Ashe height, or like just something like that, or be like, oh, I'm jumping with you, Tracer, or anything like that. Just get those simple comms just to tell people, hey, I'm with you, hey, I'm doing this, and use that in your downtime just so you're not too mercifully fixated about it. And another one is you might say, oh, I'm jumping out, like, oh, I'm getting out, oh, kite back, which kite just kind of means, to shoot the enemies while you walk backwards. And you might just say stuff like that. And this is essentially where all that fits into the informant of your play. If you're going to go forward, you tell people they're going forward, and if you're going back, you tell people that you're going back. And you kind of use the little bits of downtime you have to let people know that. Okay, the next one that I kind of alluded to a little bit, but it's very useful and you'll hear a lot, is 3-2-1. 3-2-1 is a way people just do everything in this game, okay? Tried and true method. If you're going to dive in Ashe as Winston, you might jump in Ashe. 3, 2, 1, and then you jump the Ashe. And then everyone knows they had a window, this is what it's going to do, waits a little bit, okay, 3, 2, and then they give you time to do it. when I played Sombra, I used to sometimes count down by EMPs, like, oh, EMP in 3, 2, 1, and then you throw it. People do that all the time. It's just a really good way to give your team something to synchronize to, some idea, even if the timing's slightly off, you guys are all kind of trying to do the same thing. Now, this com, while useful, is difficult. Okay, it's more difficult than you think, and it won't work in ranked games all the time, because people, one, don't have to listen to you. You're not their IGL, you're not their coach, whatever. They don't have to listen to you. You very often will be making a wrong play because you're not the highest rank, right? And if you're trying to learn and improve, this comp can break your focus and make you think too much about 3, 2, 1 in. So higher ranks, dabble a little more with this, but the lower ranks, just be a little cautious with the fact that this is quite a intense comp that a lot of people aren't going to pay attention to, or you're going to be wrong about quite a lot. But if you're going to ult, sure, give it a little 3, 2, 1 if that's what you want to do. Just allow people to know what's going on. Okay, let me just get through some of the obvious ones. The obvious is just like saying where a target is. So you could say that like, oh, Widow's on height, oh, Ashe on the left side, Tracer's flanking. These are like a given. Just if you have information, just relay it, right? Like just relay any information. Just be like, Tracer's on our honor. I don't know, something like that. And you can get more advanced with it and get really weird with it, but I just wouldn't focus on it too much, unless the only time I come like that is if I am in comms with a duo, with a friend or whatever, and I might be stuff like, oh, let's cut Kara on, we gotta like, you know, do this, I'm gonna use this. I'm being way more specific. You can't do that with randoms. They're not gonna listen to you, they're gonna hate you, and they're gonna tell you to shut up, okay? All right. Another one is to say if a target is dead. So in my example earlier, Kiri, I killed Kiriko, and so I'm just going to say, oh, Kiri dead, just in case no one knows, and you just want to say it. Kiri dead. Kiri half. That's another one. Health. It's quite obvious, but you know, oh, Genji 1, Kiri half, Winston low. Like, you might want to say stuff like that, right? And then another one you might see a lot of EU, like, brawly comps do this, is where they'll scream one target name. Very risky com in ranked games because people might hate the fact that you're just being really aggressive with it. It can work if you guys are playing well and you're all synced in, but just be a little careful. I do this one more if I'm stacked with people, but randoms I'm a little more skeptical on to just scream a target name unless I'm on that target and they are low. All right, and yeah, say who you're shooting. You might be like, oh, I'm on whatever if you think it's important. Yeah, overall. These are the main style of just ranked comms. There are thousands of different comms you can make, right? And I could even make another video on this. And there are loads of comms that are exclusive kind of to high rank and scrims. These are the ones I just want to get out there because these are the ones that are maybe not as obvious to everyone, but are the most important things to get down. And also, don't worry too much. Your gameplay is still first, and then these comms are an extra. I hope this helps. Have fun relaying information to people. And if you learn anything, that'd be great.